Julia Nelki, and I'm going to tell you a bit about the book that's behind the Stumbling Stones project that's going to be performed soon. And the book is called Villa Russo. So my father was a great storyteller, and he told me many tales about times before I was born. You know, the ones that really stick in your mind the most. I knew much more about his family than about my non-Jewish mother's. He was a Jewish communist refugee from Berlin. He left in the 1930s. And after the war, he found out many things about our family that preoccupied him and later me. He wanted to write them up, but it became too overwhelming for him. And in the end, he left many, many box files full of photographs, German documents, letters and other materials. I didn't speak much German. I certainly didn't read German, and so they stayed in our loft for many years until I retired. And then, with the help of my German husband, we translated the documents, we looked through the research, we went to Germany and met some of the people ourselves and made our own relationships, and that led to the book coming out. So I decided to centre the story around the villa. So this villa was built by my great uncle in 1895, and it has survived and weathered many storms, including being taken over by a Nazi family during the war, and in communist times becoming a school. And the beautiful stained glass window that takes up half the wall, with its beautiful greens, blues, red and gold, also survived. But how did the family get here? I wanted to go back as far as I could to tell the story, and that was 1750. So my great-great-great-grandfather, Matthias Nelki, was one of the poor Ashkenazi Jews. So in Eastern Europe, there were thousands of homeless, wandering Jews with no legal means of survival at all. They were not treated as citizens. They had no rights. They were not allowed to work. And many were wandering, completely stranded, with no hope for the future. So they could only go to Jewish villages, and they would go and beg there. And occasionally they would get some provisions for the night or something. Thursday nights were good because often families could give something, hoping that they could also celebrate Shabbat. And there were a few protected Jews who were allowed to work, but they could only support their small local community. They couldn't take on the many thousands that were coming through. So that was a really hard time, and we wondered how people managed to survive, and some survived, it turned out, my father found, by turning to crime. So 3 of my relatives, 3 brothers, Louis, Elias and Herman, formed a gang that became quite notorious. They lived outside Berlin, and they had a horse and cart, which was a good means of taking stolen goods away, and they mostly were involved in petty crime. But occasionally they did try bigger things, and we know that in 1830 they broke into the University of Berlin and stole the salaries of the staff around Christmas time, including possibly Hegel, which was very... because he worked there at the time, and although he was known to be supportive of Jews, maybe he changed his mind after that. Anyway, they were caught and imprisoned, and that is how we know that happened, although it seems the money was never found. That's as much as I'll say at the moment about the book, but I may follow on with a few other snippets in a later interview. So thanks for listening. Bye.